As far as interaction with vets that possibly have PTSD and an officer safety side of the house, of course, you're not going to know if they were vets or whatever. There's things you can look for, like the clothes they're wearing, the way they talk. There's things that you can kind of pick up on, but if you don't have that experience base, it's going to be harder for you to understand that. Some things that may cause some issues for vets that do have PTSD would be, of course, the hypervigilance. As a police officer, someone's looking around and they're nervous and fidgety. First thing I'm going to think is, hey, they're going to try to run from me. And so what do? You try to back them into somewhere that they're not going to be able to run from. Well, doing so is actually amplifying the situation as far as they're concerned, because they're not going to run. They're trying to do the right thing, but they're just nervous. They're just hypervigilant. They're looking around. Another thing that I was thinking about, we went to an alarm and we were looking in the windows. Well, another possibility for PTSD is really you're high paranoid. Sleeping with a gun, have a gun with you as much as you can. Well, if you were nervous and felt like people were coming to get you, and you see a head pop into a window, potentially that could end up causing a problem for the officer that has his head in the window. And to that guy, he's not doing anything wrong, he's defending himself. With that being said, do whatever you can to lighten the situation for the individual within officer safety. Don't put yourself in a bad situation because you're trying to accommodate this disability.
Loud noises set me off. Large groups really set me off. Even at work, and there's a group of people just standing around me while I'm working, I start sweating and start shaking, and I have to leave. I can't be in that little area right there. I've got to move.
Say that you could downgrade in uniform and go and talk to the individual. You can talk them out of it. It seems to me that it would be just real simple to do. I mean, it could go either way. I mean, I don't know, but it seems to me I've been related to with law enforcement, and it's just such a soothing feeling. I have a battle buddy. That's what it feels like, and to help me through this. Afghanistan, if we were having an incoming round, it was a police siren. I mean, that was just, and which was every day. You hear that, you got 30 seconds to find a hole. And then you have a police siren go off here, walking by a semi, and the air check goes off, in a parking lot, just scare you to the ground. I mean, when I first initially came back, those were huge problems. Now I've coped with it. I understand what it is, but I have a fight or flight mode that will never leave me. I just can't get rid of it. Even intoxicated, I still have it.
But as a police officer, when we come upon an individual that we're going to contact for whatever reason, we have to make some pretty quick assessments. And so when we contact an individual that we believe may possibly be suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, there's going to have to be some digging done. They don't wear a sign that says I have PTSD. So there'll be some things you can look for. Some will be very obvious. Is he wearing a ball cap that says veteran on it? Is he wearing a camouflage field jacket? Does he carry himself and speak in a military manner? Does he assume the position of attention when somebody of authority comes near him? There's little telltale signs you can look for. Like I said, some are obvious, some are not. But once you decide, or once you determine that person is a vet and they are suffering for possibly suffering from PTSD issues, I think there are some questions you can ask that'll really nail that down or narrow that focus down. And I know a lot of times we're trained as police officers to ask open-ended questions, and those still apply here. But I think there's also some times, in order to make that determination, there's going to have to be some closed-end questions asked. Were you ever in the military? How long were you in the military? What was your MOS while in the military? Did you ever deploy to combat? Things like this, and the answers will all work towards giving us that answer of identifying whether that individual could potentially be suffering from PTSD. And then once we've got that, then we need to start looking at developing that rapport and building that trust in order to get that individual the help that they need. And most officers, don't realize, but they already have a lot in common with these individuals. The military is all about duty, honor, loyalty, bravery. These are all tenets of police work. So we've all got that common ground right off the bat. We also have all seen the horrors of life. We've all seen the the fatality accidents, the homicides, the shootings and the stabbings. These are all very traumatic experiences. They may not be on the same scale as to what that vet saw in the combat zone, with people being blown up, and things like that, but they're still very traumatic experiences, and they can all be used to establish that common ground and develop that rapport that we're going to need to eventually get to the level of trust needed to interact effectively with that vet.